I remind delegates not to forget to take the interpretation equipment. On receiving Albert Schweitzer medal. I would also like for the work done in the past 2 days, and especially readiness yesterday to work long in the evening. So thank you very much. I would continue with the some of the announcements. Some are practical and refer to the documents or the information for this meeting. There is a revised participant list available on the web page of this meeting, so IWC68. You have to refresh your browser if you were looking frequently at the web page, otherwise it doesn't show. And now you see it as a first document, not anymore where it was before, but as a first document for the meeting. I would also invite delegates to look at it, and in case there are any errors in it, please inform the secretariat. Either typographical errors with your names or somebody missing or any other errors that you find. Sorry, I have to see on that list there are delegations that are present at this meeting, not those that registered and didn't manage to arrive here. Then there is also a list of countries that currently have a voting right and are present here. That has been made. And here I'll stop for a second. Okay, thank you very much. Apologies for this. I will continue with these announcements, and then before we start, the secretariat will be able to project this list. Otherwise, if you write to the secretariat, you can get it as well. Okay, it is already here. And as it is written, that is delegations that are present here and that are present here now. I mean, as of 19th of October, and that have cleared their arrears before 2019, including the year 2019. And as I said, you can get this list from the secretariat at request if you wish, so just write it there, but we'll also keep it on the screen for a while. You will be aware that this list can change if there are new delegations that arrive, and if there are delegations who are here and they clear arrears for the year 2019 and behind. Then the other announcements I wanted to make is that there is being some work done, or will be some work done, on budget and on resolutions and schedule amendment. I will start with the budget, and just inform you that there was a meeting yesterday, and that the chair of the budget subcommittee is working with delegations bilaterally, as challenges or positions they have are sometimes different. And if you would like, you're kindly invited to contact the Australian delegation in this matter. And then, depending on the progress, we might open this agenda item for discussion only again this afternoon. That will depend on the progress made. Then the work on the resolution on plastic pollution, to my understanding, is quite advanced. So if delegations that have still some concerns want to work on them, I would invite them to contact the Czech Republic, the presidency of the EU member states present here. Then on the food security resolution, draft resolution on food security, those delegations that have expressed their interest to work on it are invited to meet during this lunch break. There will be, when we're closer to that point, there will be an announcement by the Secretariat where exactly, and also exact timing in the lunch break. And also delegations that yesterday expressed interest to work with the proponents of the resolution on conservation and management program of whale stocks aimed at resuming of commercial whaling. They will also meet in the lunch break. For more information, I think you can contact also Ian, who is here with us. I would also draw your attention that during the day there might be a revised version or versions appearing on the IWC website of new texts of resolutions. As soon as we have this, we will also inform you, so that you don't need to check the or refresh your web page constantly. Okay, thank you. So with this, let us now turn to the program from today. We will start with the agenda item 9, which is Aboriginal subsistence whaling. And first we have the agenda item 9.1, which is report of the Aboriginal subsistence whaling subcommittee. That is the document IWC IWC68/rep/ASW/01. And that there was a pre-meeting of the ASW subcommittee, which took place on Friday, so 14th October. And the report was made available on Sunday, 16th October, on the web page, and it was also circulated via emails to participants registered. Now I call the chair of the ASW subcommittee, our commissioner from Switzerland, Bruno Mainini, to present the report from their meeting. Bruno, please take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I give you the report, I would also like to thank the NGOs for their nice reception yesterday evening. And it would be nice to have such events every evening, but I know we need more time to work. So, but thanks again for this very nice event. As you mentioned, Chair, the ASW met last week, and I'm giving now the report of this meeting. The subcommittee received a summary of the relevant work of the scientific committee. The scientific committee considers stocks subject to Aboriginal subsistence whaling and related issues within its subcommittee on Aboriginal subsistence whaling, ASW, and its subcommittee on implementation reviews and simulation trials, IST. The scientific committee has developed an Aboriginal whaling management procedure, AWMP, approach to ensure that the levels of proposed catches are safely within the Commission's objective. A review of the role of the scientific committee in setting quotas was presented. The subcommittee noted that quotas were updated by the Commission in 2018, and scientific committee advice will be needed in 2024 for the next quota block for the years 2026-2031. Given the potential changes to the scientific committee meeting program, the need to consider its ability to provide timely advice was highlighted. The scientific committee reviewed and endorsed 2 population estimates for ASW stocks since 2018. The Alaska Chukotka bowhead whales for 2019, estimation 17,000, and Eastern Pacific gray whales for 2019-20, estimated 20,500. Implementation reviews, IR, relevant to ASW stocks are typically conducted within the recommended 6-year time frame. However, it should be noted that the move to biannual meetings will likely affect the ability of the scientific committee to maintain its IR timetable. The effects of unusual mortality events on the use of strike limit algorithm, SLAs, was discussed. All SLAs developed and agreed by the scientific committee were tested under a large range of possible scenarios, including episodic mortality events. If the scientific committee determines that current conditions such as changes in the environment, mortality, or abundance estimates fall outside of the tested parameter space, then an emergent ER will be undertaken. The ad hoc Aboriginal Subsistence Whaling Working Group, ASW, had recommended a survey of international indigenous human rights instruments in order to inform the Commission's role in addressing indigenous rights. The IWC Secretariat, interested members of the ASWWG, and experts from the Manitzak workshop developed terms of reference that's document ASW/68/5.1/01 and a call for tender, document ASW/68/5.1/02 in the intersessional period. The ASW subcommittee endorsed both documents and looked forward to review the report at the appropriate time. The Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission thanked Robert Zulem for his work in the leadership of the scientific committee. Finally, the subcommittee noted discussions are underway to form a stakeholder workshop to investigate the issue of bowhead whale entanglement in Alaska. I would just like to add, before I give you the floor back, that I have to thank to all helping to do the work in this group. Also the excellent support by the Secretariat, particularly Ian, and of course all others. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno, for the report and for the chairing of the subcommittee. And I also thank the subcommittee for the work done. Now, let us move to the next step, which is 9.2, discussion of the report. So I open the floor to contracting governments for any interventions. I have Czech Republic, followed by Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. The Czech Republic, speaking on behalf of the EU member states party to the ICRW, thanks the Aboriginal Subsistence Whaling Committee for their working during this intersessional period. We remain committed to the 2007 United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and reiterate our support for the work of the subcommittee on protecting the social, economic, nutritional, and cultural needs of Aboriginal subsistence whaling communities while ensuring proper regulations and sustainable catches. We welcome the presentation given during the subcommittee meeting on the work done by the scientific committee, as it was a throughout introduction to the topic for new members and good to freshen up the knowledge for more experienced participants, certainly with regards to the extraordinary circumstances of the last few years. We also welcome that the scientific committee will review the information concerning the population decrease of the Eastern Pacific gray whale population based on the best available science and if and how the Commission can address these pressures. Regarding the request of the scientific committee for in-person meetings on even years to facilitate the challenging process of agreeing on quotas for Aboriginal subsistence whaling, without preempting the outcome of the discussions on the proposals of the working group or operational effectiveness, we could agree with this proposal. It seems sensible for the scientific committee to meet physically in the same year the Commission meets. We also agree with the proposed transition period to hold in-person meetings in 2023 and 2024 in preparation of the next quota discussion at IWC69. We also note the progress made by the ad hoc Aboriginal subsistence whaling working group. We express our continued support to the work of this working group. The EU member states party to the convention consider that proposed terms of reference to be acceptable and would like to highlight the hard work currently done by the Commission, its committees and subcommittees to find a balanced way between the cultural and nutritional needs of Aboriginal peoples and the conservation of cetaceans, taking into account previous work. To conclude the statement, Mr. Chair, we welcome the work done in Alaska on the issue of bowhead entanglement and look forward to hearing more about the progress of this initiative at the following meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Denmark.
Thank you, and I will hand over the floor immediately to alternate Commissioner Mrs. Amalie Jessen, representing the government of Greenland in the Kingdom of Denmark's delegation.
Thank you. Greenland supports sustainable use of all living resources based on hunters and users' knowledge, scientific advice, precautionary principle, respecting our heritage from our ancestors, and for the food security. I have been involved with the IWC preparations and meetings since 1988, but participated first time in 1990, it's many years ago. I have also participated in other meetings, such as PrepCom of the Rio Declaration, where we battled for the S in peoples, the rights for Inuit or indigenous peoples. I have also participated in CITES, IUCN. I have been involved in forming NAMCO and Joint Commission on Novel and Beluga. I have used a lot of time informing about whaling in Greenland as required in the decisions made by the Commission. And I should also say that I'm not proud to pass on the status quo of the IWC issues to the next generation of my staff, because it's very complicated. Do we want IWC to survive within its mandate? Then all have to give something. Greenland supports the new proposed structure, governance. If it also fails, like other attempts to save the organization, then I'm afraid the organization will not survive. So we have to make something and give something each other. Otherwise, the organization will fall apart. That's my maybe last word, because I have been participating in IWC in many years, and maybe my pension is soon arriving. So this is my last word. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is United States.
Thank you, Chair. The United States would like to thank the Chair of the Subcommittee for his thorough report, as well as the Scientific Committee for their presentation that we heard last week. Like other speakers before me, the U.S. also supports aligning the biennial Scientific Committee meetings with Commission years for those reasons that were noted, as well as the intersessional work proposed to look into the entanglement of bowhead whales by ghost gear in the Arctic. And then finally, I just wanted to thank and appreciate very much the intervention just made by my colleague from Greenland, the alternate commissioner from Denmark. Really appreciated working with Thamalia over the years, and I think she said her words very well. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no contracting governments on my list, so I open the floor from for observers. I don't see a request from a non-member government. IGOs. I also don't see any request. NGOs. There is a request from an NGO, so please pass the microphone to the NGO. Present yourself, please.
KNABK Greenland. First of all, we would like to acknowledge the effort and the service of Ms. Amalie Jessen on behalf of Greenland and the government of Greenland. She has been a very steady and loyal servant of Greenland for many years, not only in whaling. We submit the report of Aboriginal subsistence whaling report and thank the chair for the report, and we look forward to accommodate in how we can implement the rights of indigenous peoples' right to whaling, but also to accommodate the indigenous people within the IWC. We share the same concerns on how the restructure will affect the Aboriginal people within the IWC, especially in terms of ensuring our right to whaling. If we take a look at how the scientific work is being conducted, we see simulations and algorithms being used to advise on the stocks and the quotas. And I think it's important to emphasize the need to include the users in terms of conducting scientific work, and to include the users who spend all their life in the environment and has the best knowledge and experience of the stocks and the animal life. So I can only encourage the scientific committee to include the use of traditional knowledge, and especially in terms of user knowledge within the advice and the scientific work being conducted. So we thank for this opportunity and thank for the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Please pass the floor to the next NGO.
Thank you, Chair. IWMC on behalf of JGT. 6 years ago in this very room, the Commission heard a presentation by one of the most renowned scholars on indigenous rights, who also serve in the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, Dali Sambo Doro. We heard how solid the legal rights of indigenous people pertaining to the use of natural resources are, and therefore also for whales. To even discuss this issue here shows I think the ignorance towards a legal framework that ensure that those most impacted by climate change and food shortages still have the possibility to feed their family. In conclusion, I would say, Chair, that I personally find it indecent, not to say immoral, that we force people to beg for access to sometimes the unique sources of food they have available.
First, we'd like to thank the scientific committee for the work they've done for the Aboriginal whalers. The work that they do is going to be key to the success and the survival of this commission. So we thank the scientific committee for their work. Lastly, we'd like to say thank you to Amelia for her words. And I believe this commission owes her a big round of applause for the work that she's done for the country she lives in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Scientific Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for all the comments from the previous speakers. I guess I just wanted to address the question about the incorporation of traditional knowledge, indigenous knowledge in the scientific committee. And I just wanted to assure our Greenlandic colleague that that is happening, and I'll talk about it this afternoon when the SC responds to questions and such. I'll provide some details, but I look forward to talking to him more as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. With this, we completed the discussion on this report and this agenda item. There are no objections. There were no objections raised during the subcommittee meeting. So I assume we can adopt the report. The adoption then will be done on Friday, but I will consider that there are no objections, so the report can be adopted. We also have any other matters, as usually here. So if there is any request for any intervention under any other matters under this agenda item, under Aboriginal Subsistence Whaling, I don't see any request for the floor. So with this, we went through all the items, and I close the agenda item 9, Aboriginal Subsistence Whaling. And I move to the agenda item 10, which is whale killing methods and welfare issues. We will have the same procedure here. So first, the report, the whale killing methods and welfare issues working group met on Friday, and report of the pre-meeting was made available on Saturday, 15th October, the same way as all the others. This meeting was chaired by our commissioner from New Zealand, Jen Henderson. So I pass the floor to Jen to present the report.
Thank you, Chair. And morning greetings to you all. For those of you who I haven't met yet, my name is Jan Henderson from New Zealand, and I too would like to thank the NGOs for the wonderful reception last night. Perhaps we should have a competition for the best commissioner dancing on the floor. I know I have a nominee. To business, I was privileged to chair the Whale Killing Methods and Welfare Issues Working Group last Friday. I will now present the report, main outcomes for the Commission's endorsement. If you look at there's a slide presentation to help us go through this report. The discussion covered 6 main themes: data on whales killed, information on improving the humaneness of whaling operations, whale welfare, welfare issues associated with entanglements, strandings, and funding. So a full agenda, and I will just touch on some of the key points under each of these items. The full report can be found on the document on the screen, and the relevant documents will be on each slide presentation. So I won't repeat all of the document numbers. Slide 3, please. On item 3, whales killed, we received data from 8 member countries. The data was from whaling operations or from euthanasia from, for example, strandings. The reports were from the Kingdom of Denmark on behalf of Greenland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, the Russian Federation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the UK, the US, and Norway. Slide 4, please. Under item 4, we received information on the humaneness of whaling operations from 4 countries: the Kingdom of Denmark on behalf of Greenland, the Russian Federation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Norway. I would like to pass on my thanks to all of those countries who provided reports on both items, as this data contributes to understanding and discussion in the working group. We also had an interesting presentation from NAMCO about their approach to training for hunter safety, animal welfare, and efficiency. Slide 5. Under item 5, whale welfare, there were two main outcomes. The working group recommended Commission endorsement for a further workshop on euthanasia and mass strandings to be funded from the Voluntary Welfare Fund. The second outcome was to recommend that the Commission endorse the Whale Welfare Assessment Tool. This tool is a new framework for decision-making and is based on the widely used 5 domains animal welfare model. Slide 6. Under item 6, we discussed whale welfare issues associated with the entanglement of large whales. While the pandemic had created challenges for in-person training, the technical advisor outlined an active program in disentanglement training. The working group expressed its strong support for the entanglement initiative and recommended Commission endorsement that work continues to build global capacity to respond to entangled whales. Slide 7. This one is on strandings. Again, interesting reports, this time from the Strandings Coordinator and the Scientific Committee on the range of activities underway under the Strandings Initiative. These included response training and establishing regional focal point local coordinators. In terms of outcomes, the working group recommended that the Commission note the intersessional progress made by the Strandings Initiative and endorse the work and recommendations, including the new strategic objectives and structure, the proposed work plan for 2021 to 2024, the funding application for an in-person workshop in 2023, and the continuation of the Stranding Coordinator position for the next 2 years. Slide 8. The final item, 9, was on funding. The key outcome here was the recommendation to the F&A Committee to endorse the evaluation criteria and the allocation process for the Voluntary Welfare Fund. This criteria and allocation process is to ensure there was good process around the decisions to allocate funding. I note that this recommendation was subsequently